All right, welcome to today's podcast. Today, we're going to talk about branding. Why we as small farmers, small business owners, why this is important. And the lessons we can learn from the big guys. I mean, the big guys have been branding forever. And I say forever. Livestock branding started, 2000 BC. I mean, that's where we first started showing ownership. Silver makers have been putting their mark on things forever. The big guys know this is important, but small farmers, small business owners for decades have just forgot about branding because most small business owners are focused on transactional advertising because it's easy to understand. Come in today, get 20% off. We have this widget for sale. And that's easy. Building a brand is something that at the beginning of it may not make a lot of sense, but it does. So anyway, let's get into it today.
I have a love-hate relationship with marketing. Really? I've got to do what? All I want to do is farm.
Welcome to the SI Farmer Podcast. If you want to market your farm-based business, or craft food business directly to the consumer, this is the place for you. Welcome to the show. So, like I said, today we're talking about branding, why this is important for us as small farmers, why this can make us more money and make our marketing, honestly, it's probably one of the best things you can do to make your marketing better. So, you talk about you look at the history of branding, livestock branding, we all know that came out of agriculture, and marks to show ownership. I think the Guinness World Records shows Lyle's Golden Syrup in 1885 is sort of the first packaged brand. We talk about, you go to the grocery store and you talk about brand name versus store brand, but the question is this just for the big guys? I heard a story once about Wrigley's gum where they spent a lot of money advertising and branding Wrigley's gum. And I guess this was during the Great Depression. And Mr. Wrigley was on an airplane and talking to a person next to him in the seat. And the guy asked him, he said, well, we're heading into some pretty tough financial times. Don't you think you should pull your branding and marketing and your advertising? And Mr. Wrigley looked at him and said, you know what? That's an idea. But when you think about it this way, this plane, they tell me if these engines quit, that this plane can land. But I'm not willing to trust it. And he spent Wrigley's gum forever was such a huge brand. They still are. I think they've been consolidated. But, the branding side of it, big companies have spent a lot of money on it for a long time. Coca-Cola, Budweiser. You see a famous one, the Budweiser Clydesdales. When you see the Budweiser ad on the Super Bowl, used to, where they would show the Clydesdales. And it was a very cute ad for Budweiser, but it wasn't specifically selling anything. It was not a transactional advertisement. It wasn't trying to get you to buy a specific thing at a specific time at a specific place. So why did they do it? Well, they did it because they want repetitious memory. When somebody goes out to dinner, and this is their thinking, I'm sure. When somebody goes out to dinner and they sit down, social gatherings are always, you're talking, and it's stress is the wrong word, but it's you're engaged in this other part of it, and the waiter or waitress comes up to you and says, what do you want to drink? Their hope is that in that moment, you're going to remember, just give me a Bud. That's their hope, and that's why they brand it, because now you've remembered it. Coca-Cola, same thing. Just give me a Coke. Have a Coke and a smile. It's not transactional advertising. It's branding. But in the past, it's only been for the big guys. It's only been for those companies that have the the foresight and the understanding and, most importantly, the budget to brand themselves. But why, when we look at this, why is this important for a small business or our small farms? Well, first, it's easier now than ever to build a brand. And let's ask this question real quick. What is a brand when we think about it for a small farm? That's probably the first thing we need to understand. It's simple. It's a consistent way to present ourselves to our customers and potential customers. That's it. It's not very complicated. So it's having a logo, probably maybe a color, maybe a specific font, maybe, but it's a consistent way to present ourselves to our customers and potential customers. And that's it. That's branding. Now, that's having a brand. Branding is helping that customer remember that brand. So the act of branding is making sure that when we sell our product, it's got our logo on it. It's got if we've got a catchphrase, if we have a specific color, that our packaging is that color. So it builds a consistent presentation to our customer. In the marketing world, we talk about it in, we call it, in the industry, when we all get, when all of us people get together, which we don't. But when we get together, we talk about it in look and feel. And look and feel is simply, how does it look? Does it have a consistent look? And feel is, how does it make us feel? Does it cause an emotional response to a product? Having an emotional response helps us remember things. And when we consistently see an image over and over and over again and a logo attached with a product over and over and over again, we remember. Repetition is one of the keys to memory. In the history of marketing, and I'll kind of get into it, used to be a saying that we had to get something in front of you 7 times in order for you to remember it. And I say you, the general public. That's what we thought. And it's true. It's why you see, Geico did such a fantastic job with their branding. Geico, 15 minutes can save you 15% or more. Repetition. How many times have you heard that ad over and over and over and over again? Little funny bit in the middle, but the end of that, Geico, 15 minutes can save you 15%. That's what they want you to do. And so that accomplished 2 goals. It was both, not only was it branding, you remembered Geico, but it was transactional at the same time, so it was even better. They wanted you to do something so you could save something. But that memory and that repetition, used to be only the big companies could afford to spend advertising dollars, real money, on branding. But with the advent of social media and user-generated content and all of these things that we have in this world, we as farmers, it doesn't cost us anything to build a brand. It doesn't have to. It can cost a lot of money, and as you get more successful and more successful, you'll spend more and more money helping your customer remember a brand. But in the beginning, it's having a consistency of presentation, a consistent look and feel. Do we use the same, does our logo look the same? Does it have the same color? Does it have the same font? Branding is just that. It's a way to help our customer remember us. In the military, they train you, and I did not serve, but I am ever grateful and thankful for those of you who did. My son is, as I'm recording this podcast, he's in boot camp right now. Really proud of him. But they teach you by repetition, whether it's muscle memory or repetition, repeating sayings or whatever that is, repetition, so that in stressful situations, training and memory kicks in. And that's what we're trying to do when we're selling our product, whatever it is, if it's a jar, if it's local honey, It's, look at some of the guys that have done stuff with honey and bees. Burt's Bees. Company built a huge brand out of that. And they started, that repetition and that seeing that consistent look and that presentation over and over and over again. Well, now it becomes a brand. Now it's something you look for. But, really get into, and so that's sort of the what a brand is. But when we talk about the why, well, in some respects, building a brand is cheap advertising. I mean, giving a hat away, giving a shirt away, giving a mug away, giving, if somebody's going to wear that, man, they're people are seeing your brand. But at the end, it's just a way to help customers remember us better. There's a lot of science that goes into it. And the big brands have known this for years and years and years. They know the science and the psychology of branding, and that memory is one of the biggest ones. And so anytime you're presenting, anytime we show ourselves, man, wear a farm t-shirt, have a hat. I mean, these are simple things. When we have a website, make sure that the website has a consistently, when you look at it, does it make you emotionally connected to your farm? Now we'll talk about, we'll do a whole segment on what makes a great logo, what makes how do we build this, and the technical side of building a brand that can work. But building one is absolutely worth it. It's not just for the big guys. We as small farmers absolutely should be building a brand because it will help us make more money, makes our advertising more consistent. Consistency breeds repetition. Consistency breeds memory. So when and where should we use it? Everywhere. Everywhere. I have always been one. I'm a very private person. I have always tried to separate my business life and my family life. Even though we work together, my wife and I are business partners in several companies, we maintain a very private, personal life. Just, we're both introverts. I'm sitting here in front of a camera, but I'm not a big social guy. I'm sort of a private, quiet homebody. But when I go out in public, when I go to the farm store, when I go to the grocery store, when I wear a hat. Do I have a logo on my truck? No, I don't. I haven't done that yet. But certainly my products aren't really for that. But, should you? Man, if you don't mind doing it, do it. Do it. The reason is repetition, repetition, repetition. We remember it. And branding is about building that memory instinct. So in a stressful, when you walk in, oh, what do you want? Man, I want a Joe's Farm steak. Man, I just love Joe's Farm steak. Whether it's, you want people to remember who you are. So, again, I run a small cattle ranch, and so when we sell a whole half or quarter, I want people to remember where they got that steak. And that'll bring up something. My product better live up to it, because if they remember who I am, I better dang well have a pretty good product. Because the flip side of that is if people remember who you are and you are not producing a good product, well, they're going to remember that too. But we're all producing good products. So, brand it. The large companies do this unashamedly. Kind of a weird word, but they do this unashamedly. When you go down the grocery aisle and you're looking for detergent, man, the biggest, brightest colors are the ones you see. And then you see the brand, and you see colors. You know, in my previous career in a kind of an interesting industry, I dealt with a lot of music artists, and they are very much, I would get asked by a lot of people, you work with famous people. Yeah. But they ask, well, what are they like? And the question, I'm sure they're decent people. I don't talk a lot about that, but they're a brand. And that's the thing that, you have to remember. They're out there promoting a product, their music. They're a brand. They want you to feel a certain way and remember their music and do this. They're building a brand. What you see on TV and what you hear in the music may or may not be who they really are. They're building a brand around their product. We as farmers are building a brand around our product. But in my opinion, my humble opinion, it's a little bit more real because it's who we are. Man, I love to play in the dirt. I love coming in at the end of the day being grimy and greasy. Man, I feel like I've done something. But that's part of that, one of the things I love about helping farmers and helping us market ourselves better is, man, we're marketing the real deal. It's the real thing. We're just using some of the tricks and tips and the knowledge that's been gained over decades from the big companies and applying it to real people, applying it to small companies that feed real people. Man, what's cooler than that? So we're sort of on the when and where we should use a brand. But, and again, everywhere. Don't be ashamed to, wear your brand on a t-shirt, sweatshirt, socks. I don't know. But how does this make us more money? And why should we do it? Well, first, I think it's one of the things to remember about building a brand is it's just, again, a consistent look and feel to our company. Whatever our company is, whether we're an actual working farm producing beef, or we're a craft food business working with local farmers to build a craft cheese company or honey or whatever our product is, we're building a brand around that product. Well, one of the things that is difficult in marketing, and I hear this a lot from small businesses, is, and I don't want to get into the tech part of graphic design and talking about math-based and vector-based graphics versus all that. I mean, that's not what, it's a little esoteric. But, don't get me wrong, it's very, very, very important. But they struggle to find their logo. Somebody will say, oh, well, we need your advertisement for the local Little League game. Well, do you have your logo? Well, I've got it on a business card. Can you scan my business card? Or, you've sponsored a local, the county fair. Well, we've got to make a banner. Do you have a logo? Well, no, let's do something. Man, having a brand, not only is it the right thing to do, is it a fantastic way to market your business through repetition and look and feel, but man, it makes it easy. Hey, we're sponsoring the local county fair. Let's get our logo. Great. I'll shoot it right over there. Click, click, click. Boom. Done. Marketing's easy. I mean, I'm a big fan of saying there is no easy button in marketing, but there's certainly a lot of things we can do to make it easy. Go through the hard work of building a brand and something that you're happy with and satisfied with, and you don't have to touch it again for a long, long time. Man, need your logo for something? Click. We'll get into, I'm sure I'll do a podcast on the ways and the strategies to do this well, because there's a lot. But at the end of the day, if we have a brand and we've got a brand identity guide, sort of, even if it's just in our head, and maybe it's something as, we use our logo and then all the fonts surrounding it have to be, sans serif or a Helvetica font or something like it. I mean, whatever. Doesn't matter. But that process of having the brand sort of visually laid out where you have your logo, you have a color or two colors or whatever your strategy is. But you have it all in one place. Man, branding's easy. Branding makes having a solid brand makes your marketing easy. Yeah, we're gonna sponsor, the local truck pull. Great. Here's our logo. Click, and it looks fantastic. I mean, that's just easy. What could be better than that? Not only have you done your job well, have you marketed your company well and your farm well, but man, you did it in 5 minutes. Didn't have to hire a team of experts. Man, that's great. When you make, well, I'm sure we'll get in and spend a lot of time talking about social media because, man, what a great way to brand. You can love or hate social media, and I certainly have my own personal opinions of it, what it's good for, what it's not. But from a business standpoint, there's not much wrong with it. Great way to get your brand out there, to stay connected with your customers. And again, if you have that sort of idea of your farm and who you are and what you are, and you have that look and feel done, spend a little time doing it, and, work once, don't work for a long time kind of thing, man, it's great. You don't have to spend a lot of time thinking about your brand. Man, I love solutions like that. I wish they came around more often, but if you do this, spend some time doing this once, man, you can save a lot of time. And my dad, my father was he retired from big business and had a little insurance agency in New Jersey for quite a while. And I noticed this with him. He didn't do a good job branding. I mean, never had a logo, never had anything. And my father was a brilliant man, but he was not a creative man. And I started seeing, so he would sponsor, because he was a very generous guy. He was a very, very generous man, and he would sponsor the local little league team, and he would just say, here's my business name, and wouldn't think much about it. And now I look back on it, and I think, man, if I had just known what I know now back then, I'm sure we all ask ourselves the question, could have helped my dad been a lot more successful at that. My mom, small business owner, grew up on the farm. In fact, grew up on the farm that I live on now. She was a music teacher, ran a little private music studio after school. She worked 2 jobs all my life where she taught piano and singing. Gospel piano player, fantastic musician. And Mom always liked alliteration, Heron's House of Music. But again, never, back in those times, branding was not something small businesses thought about. We thought about things transactionally. And with the advent of computers and the ease of design and the ease of all of these things, man, we can brand ourselves like the big guys. And now we have a fair way to compete. We have, we can compete with them because, Mr. Coca-Cola doesn't live here in our town. I do. So when people see that brand and they associate that with me, man, I'm branding myself all the time. And it's not, it's not being, you're not forcing your brand on people, but you're connecting with them, with your community. And when you do that, you get a community around your business. And that community around your business helps you grow a bigger community and a bigger community. And that's important. So, how does it make us more money? Again, it allows us to do a job that we have to do anyway. We have to sell product. Most of us have to market it. And how we do that, there's strategy after strategy and implementation, whether you're trying, depending on the volume of product and how there's a lot of stuff to think about. But branding, once you get it done, shouldn't be one of them. But it allows us to do that job so much better and so much more efficient, and makes whatever marketing and advertising we do, makes it so much more valuable. And that's really how it does it. It helps us do a job more efficiently and better. I'm John for the SI Farmer. Have a wonderful day. Good luck, and God bless.